Thank you everyone for joining us today. And yeah, I'll get started. Welcome to Berkeley. We have a poll going out right now. What type of visit are you? Thank you so much for joining us on this amazing Cal Week. Additionally, please make sure to scan that QR code to visit our website. Before we begin, I also want to introduce myself. My name is Elias. I will be your virtual tour host today. We have two amazing tour guides who will be leading you through a lot of the Berkeley basics, and I'll be the main host today. So yeah, let's launch the poll right now, and we'll have y'all answer that. Um, and yes, this is specific for Cal Week. So what type of visitor are y'all today? Okay, on my end, I'm seeing a lot of admitted undergraduate student and admitted transfer students, and then some student friends and family members. That's so great. Alrighty. If you haven't submitted or answered the poll, let's just all take a short look at that. Okay, pretty split even. Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of, yeah, just admitted undergraduate students and admitted transfer students, and then some student friends and family members. So thank y'all for joining us. Congratulations in getting admitted to UC Berkeley. And we'll go on to our next slide. So yes, as I mentioned before, today is a virtual visit. It's going to be at 45 minutes. It's a 45-minute presentation. Please utilize the Q&A function. We don't have the chat open today because it's a webinar, but the Q&A function will be very lively. On our back end, we have a lot of virtual tour guides who will be answering your questions. Additionally, there's going to be there's lots of interactive polls. And additionally, if you want to see more virtual visit recordings, those are available on our website. It's going to be a general campus overview with lots of student perspectives from our two different campus ambassadors. For this webinar in particular, there's going to be no admissions or financial aid info. Those are separate admissions presentations that you can sign up for on the website or on your Map at Berkeley portal. And lastly, we're going to be ending with a Q&A. So if we see any really popular questions or questions that we specifically want to answer live, we will do our best to answer those at the end. So please make sure to answer any all questions that you might have. We're all current students here, so we'll give you the best perspective that we can. And with that, I'll go on to our two ambassadors.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Rohil. I'll be one of your guides today. I am from Fairfax, Virginia, which is close to Washington, D.C. I'm a senior here at Berkeley, majoring in data science with a minor in geography. So yes, my graduation is only about 2 weeks from now, and it makes me very sad. Other things I'm involved in, other than being a campus ambassador, I'm also involved in several computer science programs like political computer science, also the data science discovery program, Habitat here for Humanity, and I'm also involved in Greek life, and I also play intramural soccer, but I'm not very good at it, so please don't ask me anything about soccer.
Hi everyone, my name is Rena. I'm going to be your other tour guide today. First of all, again, huge congratulations to all of our admitted students and transfer students. I am a junior studying legal studies and public policy, originally from Folsom, California, so about 2 hours north of here. I'm involved in the student government, the ASCC. I do research at the Civil Justice Research Initiative at Berkeley's Law School, part of different clubs, like Gen Up at Berkeley, OACs at Berkeley, and my other part-time student job is at the Othering and Belonging Institute. So this is our agenda for today. We're going to go over key topics: history and culture, academics, housing and dining, health and safety, student resources, student life, athletics, libraries, and research. And again, we'll try to hit as much as we can, but please use that Q&A function to make sure that you guys are able to get what you want out of this presentation.
Cool. So here's a little overview of our campus. So we were founded in 1868. We are the first campus in the Universities of California system because when we were originally founded, we were just the University of California. Then because there are other UC campuses like UC Davis, UCLA that came forth after us, we affixed the city that we are in, Berkeley, to our name. So that's why we're known fully as the University of California, Berkeley. But since we were the first UC, we still do get rights to like Cal and California. So that's why you'll see this like this dual name of like both Berkeley and Cal. Generally, you'll find that Cal is more applied to academics, whereas, sorry, Cal is more applied to athletics, whereas Berkeley is more applied to academics. But the names are still used interchangeably. There's not really much of a difference between the two. Our mascot is the Golden Bear. And our specific mascot is Oski, and you can see him in the top left. He is a very friendly eternal sophomore majoring in undeclared and undecided. Oski, you'll see him running around. He has this like really funny walk with his hands behind his back, and he kind of just prances around campus. You'll just see him around. And then, yeah, we have about 33,000 undergraduates at Berkeley. So it can be a pretty big school, but during this tour, we'll kind of talk about, how different resources that there are and how to make it feel a lot smaller. And then to our right, we have some campus landmarks. For example, this video over here is of the Campanile. It's our bell tower on campus. So there is actually a clock on the face of it, and there's also a set of bells that you can actually take a class to play, which I found very interesting. Then the bottom left is actually South Hall, which houses our newest graduate school, the School of Information. And to the bottom right is Sather Gate, which is like the main entrance into our campus.
Now moving into our sort of campus culture. Before talking about this though, I do really want to emphasize that there's no one way to be a Berkeley student. The things that we're going to talk about and highlight are sort of themes that we see throughout the student body, but by no means is this like a checklist of things that you somehow have to like do while you're at Berkeley or as an incoming student. So, but just to give you a sense of what it's like to be a student here, what kind of the vibes on campus are like. The big thing, particularly for me as a legal studies student, as someone who's in that advocacy realm, was the free speech and activism. So in the top right picture, you can see a picture of the free speech movement. This was happening during the 60s, sort of around the time as the civil rights movement was hitting its stride, as well as the Vietnam War anti-war protests. It's a big part of our history, a big part of what makes Berkeley, Berkeley, and there's various things located around campus sort of commemorating that, but really just a movement to get students the right to free speech. Similarly, Berkeley students are definitely very passionate about what they study, involved in the larger community. One of my favorite things is just being able to talk to Berkeley students about why they're interested in what they're interested in. And I feel like you can have a 2-hour conversation with anyone about that. For any of our business-minded folks here, we do have a big entrepreneurship sort of spirit on campus. Of course, we have our Haas School of Business, but there's so many consulting clubs, different opportunities for students who may have ideas to sort of get those ideas off the ground and bring them to life. Also, just being situated in the Bay Area, we're at a very wonderful point where this is really just an incubator for so many wonderful ideas to come to life. In terms of our community, school spirit and pride is definitely a big one. So in that bottom right corner, you can see our rally committee. This is sort of like the spirit committee of our campus. They host a lot of events. They sort of run and oversee the big game week. So the big game is the annual football game between Berkeley and Stanford. And I think that even if you are not interested in football, you couldn't care less about the sport. You have to go to at least one during your time here because it's so much fun. And the rally committee will always host events and things for that. Very diverse, welcoming, collaborative community here. So again, there's no one way to be a Berkeley student, and whatever you look like is whatever a Berkeley student looks like.
Cool. So we'll be discussing our 6 undergraduate colleges during this tour. So first we have our College of Letters and Science. This is actually our biggest college that we have here. And it houses about 80% of our majors, anywhere from math to history to French to molecular and cell biology to English. There's all sorts of majors that are housed under the College of Letters and Science. The next one is the Rouser College of Natural Resources. This is like our environmental and sustainability focused school. We also have the College of Environmental Design, which is like an architecture focused school, and then the College of Chemistry, which is what it sounds like. You can study chemistry there, and also other majors like chemical biology. We also have our College of Engineering, which has many of our engineering focused majors. And finally, the College of Computing, Data Science, and Society, which houses 3 majors: computer science, data science, and statistics. We also do offer an undergraduate program in business. Now with that, that comes to our next poll. So yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah, so those are our different like undergraduate colleges. Okay, and here's our poll. What type of visitor are you? Okay.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on for the time being. That poll looks like the right poll just popped up. So feel free to answer that. It's just about what different like majors and programs that you might be interested in. I'm seeing a lot of social sciences. Love to see that as a social science major myself. But we do have a pretty good spread across all of the programs. It looks like a couple other people marked unsure. And I just really want to emphasize that you do not need to know exactly what you want to study coming into college. A lot of people actually don't. A lot of people end up switching, changing their mind. I did that. So don't feel like you're somehow behind or something just because you're not sure what you want to study. That's perfectly normal, and many people are in that boat. All right. Um, with that being said, I'll head into the first college that Rohil mentioned, the College of Letters and Science. This is the college that I am under as a legal studies major. As Rohil said, the majority of students are in the College of Letters and Sciences, so 3 out of 4 undergrads are in it. Again, over 80 different majors, things like political science, legal studies, English, pure mathematics, applied mathematics. The other thing that I want to mention is that if none of the 80 plus majors in the College of Letters and Science are exactly what you want to study, there's also a really cool interdisciplinary field program where you can kind of make your own major. So I know someone who's combining computer science and philosophy, another person who's combining sustainability, business, and fashion. So don't feel like you're just tied down to whatever majors already exist. There's a lot of ways to pursue sort of your own adventure. And find the major that's exactly what you want. That bottom right picture is Winnell Hall. This will be where you spend a lot of time as a College of Letters and Science student, but also home to all the language departments and comparative literature department.
Wonderful. So our next school is the Rouser College of Natural Resources. This was one of our founding colleges, and there are many like environmental sustainability focused majors. For example, environmental economics and policy is a major. We also have like nutritional science, there's toxicology and forestry. So there are some really cool programs that are pretty niche and very like, especially if you're interested in like, environmental studies and different sort of like climate as climate science applications. There's some really cool programs like that. So I would highly recommend Rouser. Rouser also has a really cool has some really cool programs, one of which is the like research station that operates off the coast of Tahiti. And you can actually spend a semester there studying abroad. And we'll talk more about study abroad later. But you can actually spend a semester there with other Berkeley students, just, doing research on the marine life that live there and also doing a lot of swimming in Tahiti. So pretty cool. There's not every school has a research station out in the middle of the South Pacific Ocean. So yeah, that's the Rouser College of Natural Resources.
Cool. The next college is going to be the College of Environmental Design. This is our smallest college with just around 650 students. So one of the big pros about being in this college is that you'll definitely get a more intimate one-on-one learning experience right out of the gate, just by nature of how big or how small rather, the college is. There are 4 majors: architecture, landscape architecture, urban studies, and sustainable environmental design. This video on the bottom right is of Bauer Worcester Hall. So if you are in the College of Environmental Design, this is going to be your home for the next 4 years or 2 years or however long you're at Berkeley. So start to get familiar with it right now.
The next college we'll be discussing is our College of Chemistry, also a pretty small one, about only 1,000 students. We have 3 majors, chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. And the College of Chemistry is really cool because there's actually been a lot of chemistry-related discoveries. For example, if you took high school chemistry and remember Lewis dot structures, that was developed here at Berkeley by our Dean of Chemistry, Gilbert Lewis. And now, it's deployed all over high schools all around the country to teach them how electrons orbit around the nucleus. So some people love Lewis dot structures. I know others may not, but that's a very important, a very important contribution to chemistry and chemistry education. So really awesome. We've also discovered 16 elements at UC Berkeley, including berkelium and californium. So next time you look at a periodic table and you see those two, that's from us, as well as 14 others. Some we've named after like professors or different researchers that have been, at Berkeley during their time. So pretty cool.
I must say, I was one of the students that didn't love learning about Lewis dot structures, but it's really cool to know that the history started at Berkeley. This next college is the College of Engineering, another one of our founding colleges here. 11 different majors. You'll notice that one of the exceptions here is going to be chemical engineering. Again, that is located in the College of Chemistry. So it includes majors like electrical engineering and CS, which people often shorten to EECS, bioengineering, civil engineering. I also just want to say that even if you didn't come into Berkeley thinking that you wanted to study engineering or you weren't admitted as a College of Engineering student, it's definitely still possible to transfer in. My roommate actually did that. She came in thinking she wanted to study molecular cell biology. She ended up transferring her sophomore year, and now she's a bioengineering major. So again, it may seem redundant for us to be going over this if you've already been admitted and maybe have an idea of what you want to study, but you might come to Berkeley, decide that you want to switch. So it's nice to have a lay of the land of what, besides the program you're interested in, exists out there.
So the final college that we'll discuss today is the College of Computing, Data Science, and Society. This is our first new college at Berkeley in over 50 years. And really, really exciting because I'm actually a data science major, if you couldn't guess by my name in my introduction. But essentially, I'm really excited, and honestly, I'm a little, I'm a little sad that I'm missing out on this really huge deal. But they're building this brand new building called the Data Science Gateway, and that will house many of our CS and data science classes. We'll have three majors: computer science, data science, and statistics. And we just admitted our first batch of students in this year. So if that was if you got that thing, you have been admitted to the College of Computing, Data Science, and Statistics on your admissions letter. That is, you're one of the first people ever to receive that, which is really cool. So that being said, though, our programs are still already there. Like currently, those majors are in the College of Letters and Science. They're just moving over now. So these are already very like set in stone rigorous programs that are very highly ranked in the country. And 1,500 students graduated with one of these degrees in spring 2023. So also CDSS is really great because there's a lot of collaboration with other, like local companies. Again, we are in the Bay Area, so there's a ton of tech opportunities here. I'm in a program called the Data Science Discovery Program, which is while it does sound like it's only for data science majors, there's other majors, even outside of CDSS as well, who are involved. Someone on my team is actually a sociology major. So it's actually a really great way to get involved with like local organizations and partner with them to like develop a database solution. So I thought it was really cool and a really great way to get, some industry experience. So that's a program I would recommend on that line of CDSS.
Definitely. And I think to your point, Rohil, something that I love about Berkeley, kind of similar to the Data Science Discovery Program, is that it feels like we're very embedded in the community. So I think that's reflected in the experiences you're talking about, and something that I would just, again, reiterate about my experience so far at Berkeley in general. All right. As we mentioned earlier, the Haas School of Business does offer various undergraduate pathways. So the Haas School of Business is one of 9 graduate schools, but they do offer, as do many other graduate schools, undergraduate opportunities, in particular through the business administration program. So for I don't know, I guess you guys are admitted students, but there's a couple different ways to get involved here. So for example, the Speaker Undergraduate Business Program, this is a 4-year just business administration degree, essentially. The Global Management Program, where you spend the first semester in London, and then you come and finish the rest of your studies here. And then we also have an MET program that is sort of at the intersection and combining business and engineering. So MET stands for Management, Entrepreneurship, and Technology. And students in that program basically do a dual degree in one of the College of Engineering majors, and then also the Business Administration degree. For continuing students, we also have the 2-year business major. So for any of our transfer students, that's there for you as well. And then LSBE is similar to MET, but it's going to be business and biology. And then, of course, the MET program also still exists and is available. I'll say also in general, you don't need to be in Haas to get a sense of sort of like the business entrepreneurship world. There's so much out there. For example, we have a huge consulting club scene, and they'll specialize in different areas. For example, some will consult for specifically nonprofits. Others are really like socially responsible business minded. And so you don't necessarily have to be in the Haas School of Business to get involved and get that experience.
So we have 9 graduate schools at Berkeley, and I don't think anyone here is an admitted graduate student, but if you are, congratulations. But even if you're still thinking about grad school, Berkeley does have 9 of them, and they are pretty cool. We talked about the School of Information a little earlier. That's in our oldest building on campus, South Hall. Ironically, it is our newest building still. But South Hall is the School of Information is like our data science focused school. So I actually have a class in the School of Information, that's really cool that I get to study with other graduate students. And there's also ways to like cross enroll in graduate classes while you're an undergrad here at Berkeley. We also have, I'll go clockwise from here. This is our Berkeley School of Education. This is a really cool program. If you want to get like an education minor, that's definitely doable. If you want to maybe, use your education to go into education, no pun intended. And then past that, we have our School of Optometry. The School of Optometry is actually our, if you want to learn how to be an eye doctor. And actually something cool about the School of Optometry is that they operate the University Eye Center. So you can get like an eye appointment or your like a new set of glasses from like the School of Optometry done by School of Optometry students, which I think is really cool. And finally, we have our law school. The law school is really cool. Again, I know once I was just studying casually at a cafe right next to the law school, and suddenly I saw someone walk by, and I was like, "Who is that? I've seen her in my AP Gov class before." It was the Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor. She was going there for a talk, and I happened to see her just randomly, and I'm not even in the law school. And that event was also open for, undergrads too. So despite not being, even if you're here as like a pre-law student, you can still take advantage of many of these like law school resources and events, or just that goes for really any of the other graduate schools. It's a really great way to, experience what it's like to be a grad student by just being on that same campus, and also being able to benefit from the resources and events and programs.
Totally echo what Rohil said. For example, the law school always hosts like various events. Like they'll bring in really cool speakers like Supreme Court Justice Sotomayor. And like everyone's welcome to go. So highly recommend it. The law school also has the prettiest library. They're technically very finicky about undergraduates going in there, but if you find your way in, I think it's absolutely gorgeous in there, and it's such a nice place to study. And then as Rohil was saying, like there's a lot of ways to like almost get involved in like grad courses almost. So for example, public policy will often cross list undergraduate courses and graduate courses. So I'm enrolled in an energy policy class for next year. That's technically a grad class, but they open it up to undergraduates. So again, it's really cool because you do get a taste of like what it's like to be in grad school and sort of the curriculums there, which is fun. Cool. So we have a poll coming up here that you can go ahead and answer. It should be about where you're coming from, where you're joining us from. So feel free to answer that. I love to see the Northern California representation, I must say. But as you guys are answering that, I'll go ahead and get into the housing and dining. Couple interesting things or unique things about Berkeley's housing scene. Number one, it's not required that you live on campus your freshman year. So this is very different from a lot of universities that do require you to do so. That being said, 96% of freshmen live in the university residence halls. I lived in Unit 3 my freshman year, and I absolutely enjoyed it. I thought it was a really great way for me to get acclimated to and sort of settle into the campus before going straight into classes. So my personal experience, I really recommend the dorms. But my closest friends now are just people who lived on my floor with me. So again, I had a wonderful experience there. The second thing that's a little bit unique is that technically all of our on-campus dorms are off-campus. And so I know this is hard. It's confusing just in the way that it's named, but unlike other colleges where, your dorm is going to be right next to the library, they're all going to be about a 5 to 10 minute walk off campus. So I just want to preface that, give you a heads up. So when you come to campus, you're not shocked by the fact that you're not living right next to Doe Library or something like that. So again, in terms of the housing and dining, a lot of different options here. So normally you're either going to be choosing between doubles, triples, or suites. So doubles, you'll have one roommate, triples, you'll have two roommates, and suites, depending on whether it's a normal suite or a mini size suite, it'll sort of be like a common area, and you'll have 2 to 3 rooms that are connected to that common area. It's very rare that you'll ever get a single, but if you do have any specific accessibility accommodations or religious reasons that you need a single, you can make those requests known to Berkeley, and they will work with you on that. But otherwise, you should probably expect to either have 1 or 2 roommates at the very least. There also are theme programs. So these are usually identity-based theme programs. For example, there's a Women in STEM theme program. There's an Asian American Pacific Islander theme program. There's one for Black students, Latinx students, Native American students. These are just sort of floors that have been almost not designated, but they're themed in that way, and they'll have speakers and special seminars related to those themes. There is guaranteed housing for freshmen as long as you do the housing application correctly. So I really, really want to emphasize this. Please fill out your housing application correctly if you want to be guaranteed housing. And what I mean by this is that the housing application will ask you to rank your top 5 choices. So you might say you want to live in a Clark Kerr single or double, a unit 1 triple, whatever it is. As long as that last option is any room size, any location, you will get housing. The reason that this is really important is because Berkeley's housing works on a lottery system. So if you're picked early, that's phenomenal. You'll probably get one of your top choices. If you're picked really late in the lottery, and you've ranked all your options, they want to still make sure they have somewhere to place you and they have an offer to give you. So you may need to be flexible in terms of where you live, but if you want to be guaranteed housing, please put any room size, any location as that last option. And I'm sure they will emphasize this many, many times on the application itself. For some virtual Berkeley housing tours, feel free to scan that QR code. It'll give you a sense of what the dorms look like, what the setups are like. You can start imagining how you're going to decorate those rooms and whatnot. Meal plans are included in at least specifically in the freshman housing offer. You'll get a certain number of meal swipes a week, and also flex dollars, which are sort of like credits that you can use at various campus cafes and restaurants. For transfers and community students or continuing students, unfortunately, housing is not guaranteed unless you're a first-year incoming student. But there are university dorms and apartments that are still available that you can apply to, again, more apartment style. But for the most part, people tend to live off campus. I know Rohil lives in his frat house. I live off campus, about 10 minutes away, walk from campus. So most people tend to just find their own places. You have a bit more flexibility there to find the exact place that you would like to live.
All right, so we'll talk about physical and mental health. As I mentioned earlier, we were talking about the University Eye Center. That's part of our student health insurance plan, or SHIP. So every Berkeley student is required to have working health insurance in the area. And essentially, the student health insurance plan is a really great way to do this. It's included as part of your tuition. However, if you're either from the Bay Area or you already have a working health insurance plan that extends to the Bay Area, then you can always waive this from your tuition, and you would get like cheaper tuition in that way. But it's still a really good program because you can do, you'll get like, urgent care. You'll be able to go to the Tang Center. That's like our clinic or health center on campus. But there's also like counseling or psychological services, or CAPS, and that is actually open to all students. And that is a really great resource because if you ever need to, talk to anyone, or, get some advice, or just, some support, that's a really great place to go. We also have the Path to Care Center, and that's also like, a similar sort of resource. Then we have our optometry eye center, as I mentioned earlier, and we have several like clubs that are, or like events that are dedicated to, mental health. For example, on the top right, we can see a picture of Llama-palooza. Every Friday right before finals week, they'll actually bring like a bunch of llamas onto the Memorial Glade, and they're meant to just help you, like, de-stress, just hang out with the llamas. They're really cute. And there's also Pause for Mental Health. It's like a student club that brings like a lot of like really cute dogs onto campus, and you just see them kind of running around, and they're all really, really sweet. So that's a really great way to, that's just one of our, more informal services, although we do also have a lot of services for, health insurance and, sorry, health needs, and like, medical needs and mental needs. And yeah.
Lollapalooza is like my favorite thing that Berkeley does. It's so much fun. Okay. In terms of health and or safety services now, there's a couple, some that are more like reactive measures in case something has already happened, and some that are more preventative. So the main thing that I just want to say is that when you are a student at Berkeley, on the back of your ID card, there'll be 3 really, really important numbers for your reference. There'll be the UCPD, the University of California Police Department's emergency line, their non-emergency line, and then also a phone number for Safe Walk. So again, UCPD is the on-campus police department. They're located in Sproul Hall, which is right at the heart of campus. So they're located pretty conveniently, and they can kind of just come out to you if you need some, need help or need support, whatever it is. Safe Walk, the number that I mentioned on the back of your Cal ID card, is a program run and overseen by UCPD where they train students. So you can see this in the bottom left picture here. They train students to be community service officers, and maybe you're studying really late one night, you need to call someone, you don't want to walk back by yourself, you can call the Safe Walk number and they'll come out to you and walk you back to your dorm, your apartment, wherever you need to be. Supposedly they're trained in small talk, so hopefully the conversation isn't too awkward, and you can make some fun friends while you're there. We do also have blue light poles that are scattered throughout campus. The goal on Berkeley's campus is that no matter where you are, you should be able to do a 360-degree turn and you'll find at least one blue light pole in your vicinity. You've probably seen these on other college campuses if you've been able to make a visit to those. But basically, they're just emergency poles that you can go up to, press a button, and you'll be connected with UCPD and they can be dispatched out to you. So again, if something has already happened, that's kind of a resource that'd be available for you. Warn Me is our text and email alert system. So if something's happening on campus, they can send out a message and everyone's on the same page all at once. This is something that Berkeley students are automatically enrolled in, so you don't need to opt into it. You don't need to do anything. You'll just automatically start getting these alerts when something does happen. So for example, I think last year now, a pipe burst in the Haas School of Business. There was water everywhere. People could not get to their classes, could not walk through it. So they sent out a message saying, avoid Haas. And then once it was cleared up, they said, all clear or something to that effect. And this is basically just a way to make sure that everyone's on the same page. If you have classes in Haas, you need to go through Haas to get back home. You know ahead of time, you can sort of plan, and you're not surprised once you get there. And then on the bottom right, we have a picture of our shuttle system. So Bear Transit is the normal name during the day. They run around Berkeley as well as they go into Berkeley's campus and can drop you off at certain places. This becomes a night safety shuttle at 7 p.m. So it'll go to the major dorm areas, the downtown BART station, as well as just major off-campus residence areas. And that's a service that's free for Berkeley students. You just need to flash your Berkeley ID, and it'll be accessible to you.
Great. So we have various student resources here at Berkeley. For example, we have the Associated Students of the University of California, and that is the ASUC for short. That's actually like our student government here at Berkeley. And actually, since Berkeley, is a student of has a student body of over 45,000 people, it's almost like, like a city, like a municipal office in a way of like a smaller town, which I think is really cool. It's really like structured. There's like a president, there's a vice president, there's a bunch of senators. There's tons of opportunities to like get involved in these offices. Some of them are more like identity focused. So I know like some students have run on like campaigns of like being like a South Asian community senator or like a like LGBTQ community senator or like an African American community senator. But also just like more general communities as well. Like for example, like transfer community or even like the dance community is another one. And all of these offices have kind of their own initiatives to make support these different communities in that way. The ACUC also has like they also have like this, they operate like they do a lot of initiatives on campus too. For example, one of my friends is actually the one of the vice presidents of Berkeley, and he actually like had a project to make sure that alumni emails stay active after you graduate. And I thought that was really awesome because it did actually end up like passing. So they do a lot of really good work for our school. We also do have the Transfer Student Center. I know we have a lot of transfers who are on this Zoom, which is really exciting. And coming into Berkeley with only 2 years, you do want to make sure that you're making the most of all the all the opportunities that you have and just all that little time that you have. So definitely, I would recommend the Transfer Student Center as a place to just if you want to get like your feet your feet on the ground and figure out if you need any advice in that way. I would highly recommend the Transfer Student Center. Um, we also do have resources for like undocumented students and also for students with different learning needs. That's called the Disabled Students Program, or DSP. So if you do need some, if you have some sort of exemption and you need like more, some support in that way. For example, I know someone who's not able to take notes, so they actually like hire a note taker for you. So there's like all sorts of like services like that where if you, because at Berkeley we believe that you got in on your own merit, and we want you to leave on your own merit as well. We don't want something that was out of your control to stop you from leaving, from graduating Berkeley, So we have all of these resources, and also I've noticed that theme has kind of carried over to a lot of my classes. There's a huge emphasis on, doing your best, but when things get out of hand, please like reach out and make yourself available to, just get the help that you need. We also have the Basic Needs Center, again, really great resource for, they have like a food pantry. So if you're ever like, if you're living off campus and although it's open to everyone, but if you're facing some sort of food insecurity, it's a pretty great place to, take advantage of those resources. So yeah, cool.
Definitely really want to emphasize the Basic Needs Center. I think even a lot of Berkeley students aren't aware that it exists, and it's such a great resource. Again, the food pantry, like Rohil said, they also have like you can apply for emergency loans from the Basic Needs Center. So if something pops up, they can also help you with winter break housing. So they offer so many great services. Really recommend checking that out for sure. As I said before, I'm also in the ACC, so if anyone ends up getting involved when they come to campus, maybe I'll see you there. We'll cross paths, which would be kind of fun. Ooh. Moving more into sort of student life, something that Rohil had mentioned at the beginning of the tour is that Berkeley is a big campus. There's a lot of people here, but I think all the things that we're listing here are really great ways that you can make a big campus like Berkeley feel a lot smaller. So for one, there's over 1,000 registered student organizations. And so they'll range from, again, like maybe more professional leaning ones like consulting clubs or pre-law organizations to purely recreational. There's like a hiking club. One of Rohil and I's friend is in like an ocean society club, and they take field trips to like the Monterey Bay Aquarium and things like that. I'm in a book club. So again, a huge range of clubs, a lot of advocacy and activism organizations as well. And also, if none of those 1,000 plus organizations are like exactly what you want to be a part of, it's also really easy to make your own. So you just need to get 3 other friends, you sort of draft up a mission statement about what that club is, what you're going to be doing. And you can start applying for funding from the ACC, get money to host events, book rooms to host events. So again, really easy to also make that niche for yourself if it doesn't exist already. Volunteering is also definitely a big theme on Berkeley's campus. So we have a lot of student organizations dedicated to that. For example, the Berkeley Project hosts like one big community service day each year that a lot of people get involved in. A lot of people I know will also just do their own independent volunteering around the Bay Area. Campus employment. I know this is a question I get a lot from people, is that like, do you feel like Berkeley prepares you for a career? Is it easy to get internships? What does that look like? And I think Berkeley has a lot of really great resources. So the Career Center, for example, will help you they'll help you fine tune your resume. They'll do interview preparation with you. They'll go over your LinkedIn with you. They will set you up for success. They also host a lot of events for career fairs to get jobs. I think Rohil, shout out to you, just got a job through one of those career fairs. So congrats. So again, just proof like these resources are there, and I really recommend taking advantage of them because really once you're outside of college, once you've graduated, these resources aren't as accessible anymore. So really take advantage of them while you're here. And in terms of internships, again, we're located in the Bay Area. There's always lots of things going on at any given point in the Bay Area. And so internships, a lot of people will get them during the summer, especially after their junior year. And I really recommend going to the Career Center for support and things like that. There's also a platform that we have called Handshake, where a bunch of employers will post like internships and job postings there. So that's how I found my summer internship for this summer. It's a nice consolidated way so that you're not sort of scrambling and finding things on your own. It sort of does that work for you. And as Rohil said earlier, study abroad. We have lots of friends studying abroad right now. So someone's in Sydney, Australia. A bunch of my friends are in Madrid, Spain, and I'm very jealous because it looks so fun. But it's a very popular thing that people do. So I would, again, really recommend taking advantage. You don't have to just be in Berkeley all 4 years. Take a summer and do what Rohil did and go to Singapore, or, do what your heart desires. There's so many programs that are available for y'all.
Yep. I went to Singapore for a semester, and that was really highly recommend, honestly. Even if as a transfer student, I do know transfer students that have been able to go abroad. Also, I'm graduating in 3 years in what was supposed to be a 4-year plan. So it is very much feasible to fit in study abroad to your experience, even if you think that your time might be limited. Often it can also be cheaper. So I would definitely look into that if that's something that you want to explore, whether you're a first year or a transfer. So for athletics, we are a Division I school, and we do have many different levels of competition. So we also do have club sports. For example, one of our ambassadors is on the club swim team, and despite not being at the Division I level, she's still able to compete with other schools around the country. And I believe our cow swim team is also pretty good. There's also intramural and recreational sports. Like I mentioned, I am on an intramural soccer team. Please don't ask me about it. Our win-loss record, we scored our first goal the entire season, like the last game of the season. So that's really embarrassing. But yeah, it was just more for fun, people are pretty chill, and it's only like we only have like a game like once every other week. So it is just more for fun, and so also a lot of people on that team are people from my freshman year floor. So I've been able to like connect with them and just hang out with them and have a good time, even if we lose like every single game. But then on that note, we also have our various different like venues, like the California Memorial Stadium, the Haas Pavilion, and the recreational sports facility, which is actually our gym on campus. So we do have two really big gyms, the recreational sports facility and the Memorial Stadium gym. I am honestly very happy with those gyms, and some of our dorms actually have their own gyms as well. Blackwell Hall is very famous for its really nice like inside dorm gym, but those dorm gyms are specific to the dorm that you live in. So yeah, and we've also won 223 Olympic medals. So go Bears.
Next, just getting into campus libraries and research. There are 27 on-campus libraries. So when you're a student here, you have plenty to pick from. You can choose the one that you want to really be your home, that you want to spend the most time in over the next couple of years, where you want to study. This one in the top left is Doe Library. This is definitely one of our most famous. You might have seen it in pictures before, but it's absolutely gorgeous inside. It's also open to the public, so you ever do get a chance to come up and visit and you're not, you don't have your Berkeley ID yet, you can always go in there and just take a peek around. They have some really cool exhibits about Berkeley's history as well that I would recommend reading through. And then the top right is Moffitt Library here. This technically doesn't have books in it, so maybe you want to debate whether it's a library or not, but they have loud floors where you can chat with people, maybe do group work if you prefer some background noise when you study, great place to study, and the other floors that are more traditional quiet floors and whatnot. In terms of research, it's honestly really accessible to get involved in research here. So one of the big ways that people do it is through the Undergraduate Research Apprenticeship Program, or URAP. That's how I got my current research position at Berkeley Law. I've also done research through that program in the sociology department. So a lot of different opportunities there. Basically, each department will open up positions at the beginning of every semester through URAP. You don't necessarily need to have research experience before. They're designed to sort of be available to everyone, regardless of, prior knowledge or prior experience. And I've also heard of a lot of people who've been able to take their skills that they've learned from URAP and work with that faculty and basically start their own research project. So it's a really great launching pad or just a place to get more experience with that. And then of course, different departments will offer specific opportunities. So For anyone here that is in the Rouser College of Natural Resources, as Rohil said, the Rouser College of Natural Resources offers a lot of specific and individualized research opportunities. They have their own summer research program as well called SPUR. So a lot of different ways you can get involved with research. Of course, you can always cold email professors and just see what they say. So don't shy away from it.
All right, so we have many famous alumni and professors on our UC Berkeley alumni and staff roles. For example, we have Stephen Chu, who's the former U.S. Secretary of Energy. Not pictured on this slide is Janet Yellen. In a similar vein, she actually is the current Secretary of the Treasury and was the former Chairman of the Federal Reserve. And also, the current Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, is also a UC Berkeley alumni. Her husband is actually a professor at the Haas School of Business, which is really cool. Then we also have Jennifer Doudna, who is the Nobel Prize winner in chemistry. She's actually a professor of like biology 1A at Berkeley, which is a class that many like first and second years take as an undergraduate. So you're able to be taught by someone who's so advanced in their field as like literally a first or second year. Actually, one of our other ambassadors, Brandon, he was taking Jennifer Doudna's biology class, and I've always wanted to meet Jennifer Doudna, so he helped me like sneak into her office hours just so I can like say hi to her because I just think she's so cool. But yeah, that's Jennifer Doudna. Then we also have Steve Wozniak, who's the co-founder of Apple. Chris Pine, who is actor on Wonder Woman, and Alex Morgan, who was on the U.S. Women's Soccer World Cup winning team, as well as other alumni like Beverly Cleary and Jamisha Adams-Ginyard. So yeah.
I also want to shout out not an alumni, but a professor, Janet Napolitano, who was the former governor of Arizona and also Secretary of Homeland Security under President Obama. But she's teaching an undergraduate class in public policy this next semester about national security. So again, just like how cool is it to like get to learn about national security from someone who was the former Secretary of Homeland Security for the United States. Just such cool opportunities that I'm like mind blown about being able to access. Just a couple campus highlights as we round off this virtual visit. So something that I really appreciate about Berkeley's campus is that depending where you are, it sort of feels like you're in just like a fun little park. Like there's so much green space, and even though we are in like sort of like a more city urban environment, like I think when you go onto campus and in certain particular spaces, you get like there's a real strong nature presence. So for example, this bottom picture here is of the eucalyptus grove that's located on the top left corner of campus. One of my favorite places. It smells wonderful. Great place. They have picnic tables. Great place to just like eat lunch if you have a minute between classes. Things off campus as well. We have the fire trails. So trails that go through the hills of Berkeley, Strawberry Creek that is pictured here that runs throughout our body. And again, a lot of opportunities to just like explore nature, get involved with nature. You have a nice mix of like the more urban, but also rural in the surrounding areas, which I really appreciate.
Awesome. All right. That was an amazing tour, you two. I felt like I got a lot more information as well. And hopefully our those who are joining us for Calby got a lot of information as well. But we are now entering into the live Q&A portion of our virtual visit. The first question I have is more related to those who are on our tour and their experience. So what was your first year experience like?
I can
I'll go
start.
ahead. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead.
go ahead. Okay. Cool. So my first year was it was kind of near the end of COVID. So my first semester was honestly kind of strange. Like we were all like back to normal. Like I'd see people, but we were all like, masked, and a lot of our like lectures were online, but that's definitely like not the case anymore. So honestly, I feel like my second semester felt like my real first semester in a way. Just because I was like on campus a lot more. I got to see a lot more people. There was less of like a fear of like, COVID looming over our heads. And yeah, that was also the time when if you got COVID, you get like shipped over to like Foothill, which was like, and you just be there for like 10 days. And so it was really interesting. But honestly, I would say that I really enjoyed my first year. I just tried to get involved in as many things as I could. Like for example, my second semester is when I joined a lot of different organizations. That's when I became a campus ambassador. That's when I met Rena. And then also that's when I also began I also like joined like political computer science, which is like a computer science club that I'm in, which kind of explores the like the connection between like tech and policy. I thought it was a really cool club to join. And yeah, so there's also like that's when I took some decals as well to, get my just figure out like, all the decals, by the way, are student taught classes that are meant to essentially fill the gaps between the professor taught classes. So if you want to take a class on like cooking or playing the bells on top of the campanile, or also something like academic, like I know there's one for quantitative finance, there's also one for like Hawaiian culture and history. So there's some really cool ones that are taught by other students. And then if you want to teach your own class on a really niche topic, you can make your own decal. So yeah, that's it's a pretty cool program. But those were some of the things that I got involved in my first year. Again, just definitely spreading your net wide, try and getting involved in like different clubs, different organizations, and that will make Berkeley feel a lot smaller for sure.
Yeah, I would just echo a lot of what Rohil already said. I think my freshman year, I was sort of just trying to like do everything and see what I was interested in. Again, that's when I got this job. That's when I started getting involved with research. That's when I started getting involved with the student government. I honestly, freshman year feels so long ago, even though I'm only junior, so it's only like 2 years ago for me. But I feel like it was also my first time living away from home, living away from my parents for that long. And so it's just a really fun time to sort of like really feel independent and get a chance to just explore everything that I might be interested in. Also just so many things that like I couldn't have never imagined were going to be opportunities for me. And so my freshman year was just kind of me running around exploring everything, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Just like a time of exploration, finding what you like, and seeing what Berkeley has to offer. Speaking of what we have to offer, the next question I have are, what are some popular extracurriculars? How can I get a good balance of academic and social life at Berkeley?
Definitely. I can start and then Rojo, if you want to jump in and anything. I say that to the second question about how you get a nice balance of social life and work. I think what's great about college in general is that you have so much control over your schedule. And so if you don't want classes that start before 10 a.m., you can make that happen. I scheduled myself this semester, so I don't have any classes Fridays. So I have like a 3-day weekend every single weekend, which is phenomenal. And I think because you have that freedom to sort of schedule things as you want, not necessarily take this class, maybe wait till another semester to take it, you sort of get to like decide how you want to split your time a lot more. I think for me, what's also helped, especially in college, just if I'm doing a bunch of other things, is just be more intentional about having time to like not be doing anything productive. Like I know that in a lot of our minds, that sounds so counterintuitive that I'm not going to be doing anything, I'm not going to make any progress or anything, but you need that time. So I would also recommend being really intentional about it. College can get crazy. You're doing a lot of things. Make sure that you are like, even if it's just a little bit of time each day, like let yourself be entirely unproductive and just like sit on your bed and like read something for fun or whatever it is that you like to do during your free time. In terms of really popular extracurriculars, I would say first, the student government, I think, is one of the biggest ones. So I know there's a question about getting involved in student government. It's honestly really easy. Like there's so many offices, also commissions, like there's a mental health commission, um, a menstrual equity commission, like so many different things you can get involved in. And they always want more and more people to come join because we want it to be as student-led as possible. So the student government is definitely a big one. For anyone who's interested in like journalism, the Daily Cal is also a big one. That's our student-run on-campus newspaper. And they have like sports reporters. They have, just op-eds that they run every once in a while, just general like news reporting, things like that. So that's another really big thing that people tend to get involved with. Those are things that I'm most familiar with, just coming from like the legal studies world. But Rojo, if you have anything to add about like maybe more data science, STEM oriented things.
Sure, yeah. So there are a lot of different clubs to join, and I like to say, so we have over 1,100 clubs, as we mentioned, and some of them are academic, some are, more like, community based, like the ASUC. Some are performing arts based, like I know a lot of people who are in like AFX is a really big like dance group. There's also like a lot of like a cappella groups. There's a really, really huge circuit of a cappella groups, honestly. My roommate is also in the mariachi band, and you can pay them like $15 on Valentine's Day to like find your date and serenade them and play a little song. So pretty cool. But then also we have a lot of for a lot of those academic clubs, you might also have to like apply or like do an interview, and that's just kind of the nature of those clubs. But what I would say is if you're really trying to shoot for one of those academic clubs, you might have to apply to a couple to be accepted to one. But for those more like performing arts based or like community service ones, a lot of them don't have applications at all. So if your main focus is just look for a community, I would recommend those as well. But there also are a lot of academic clubs that don't really take that don't necessarily take applications in a way. It just depends on the club and depends on the nature of the. I think generally like we have a lot of consulting clubs on campus, but those have a bit of a rep for being a little more competitive. But again, I would say prioritize a community over like a specific club, and I would say that at Berkeley there's so many great resources and there's so many, but you do have to go like get them yourself. I think that's a really important thing to know before you come here is that things won't be handed to you. You do have to be more proactive and look for them. I don't think that should be something that's scary. I think it should be something exciting, that you can, there's so much to find, and that's what I would honestly like emphasize. But as for like more STEM related clubs, like I'm involved in political computer science, as I mentioned earlier. Some of my friends are involved in like the Data Science Society, which is like a pretty big organization that does a lot of data science work. Um, I'm also involved in the data science discovery program as well. I know a lot of students also get involved in course staff, which you can do as early as after your first semester, especially in like CS and data science classes. They actually do hire like, tutors and, office hours staff like as early as your second semester of your freshman year, which is actually pretty cool. So there's a ton of ways to get involved. There's a lot of great ways to like make, community and find that fit. And a lot of my friends like to joke that we're only like 2 degrees separated from everyone at Berkeley because people are so involved and they're so like everyone is kind of connected to everyone in a way. It is really cool.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. It's definitely a way to find community and a great way to make Berkeley more for you. And I love that part about like 2 degrees of separation. I feel like I'm always running into someone who knows someone. And then I think this might be our last question before we wrap it up. But since Berkeley is in an urban area, safe would you say it is around campus?
I can do this one unless you want to, Rena.
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So I would say that the campus of Berkeley, me personally, I've always felt safe on the campus itself. It's almost like, an oasis, I feel like it's really, I always feel safe walking around. We also did talk about safety. Like we have like, our UC Police Department or UCPD that is totally separate from the Berkeley Police Department because they're catered to like, students and staff. We also do have like, our night safety shuttles, and we also do have Safe Walk, which is, that student like walking you home who's trained in like as a security officer. I would say out of the campus, it is a very urban area. So it's like any other city where you do have to take some precautions after hours. And it's just, most of it is really just common sense. But again, we do have like Safe Walk, Night Safety Shuttle, Warn Me. We have all of those resources in that way. I would say that if you're especially concerned about living in an urban place, Northside is a really good option. Northside is very quiet. I know Rena lived in Northside for a year, and it's very quiet, a very residential area. Southside is very urbanized, very busy, and some people, that's not everyone's vibe. And I would say that if you kind of want something a little quieter, Northside is really nice. I know they have like a very healthy population of turkeys that kind of roam around there, but other than that, they're pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of the advice I give. Rena, if you want to give any other advice, yeah.
No, I think that was like basically what I would say. Also, it's just use common sense. Like use the safety resources. They are there for you for a reason. Try to walk back with a friend. In general, wherever you go to college, like don't walk back by yourself late at night. Walk back with someone. Don't listen to music while you're walking back late at night. Be aware of your surroundings, things like that. But otherwise, like Berkeley's campus is super well lit. I think Berkeley as a city is pretty well lit as well. So I live off campus. I contrary to my own advice, do walk back by myself pretty late at night sometimes, and it's always been fine for me. So that's my personal experience.
Perfect. Yeah, I think that's where we will leave off. If we could share those slides again. Okay. Perfect. So yeah, just as our ending slide, please feel free to contact us. Our first link over there is the UVisit tour. That is like a virtual space, augmented reality kind of tour where like you can walk through campus and like do like a 360 tour online. Please feel free to follow our Instagram and our Facebook at Visit UC Berkeley. We have lots of different like profiles and posts about our different campus ambassadors. Feel free to email tour@berkeley.edu and the student ambassador will answer your question. Additionally, if y'all have the ability to come to campus and visit us in person, if you scan the bottom right code, the in/person campus tours, that's where you can get a campus tour. Additionally, as admitted students, y'all do have access to admitted student tours. Those would be available on your map@berkeley.edu portal. Bear Talk blog, those are blogs written by our campus ambassadors, and they go into our experience on student life and being a part of campus. And then all of our recorded virtual visits are available on our YouTube channel at Visit UC Berkeley. Additionally, if you're interested in that admission-specific presentation, the QR code is on the left over there. And then our next slide. Oh, another thing to note, if you were here for Cal Week, so those of you who are joining us live right now, there's going to be a different set of ambassadors who will be at the virtual resource fair tomorrow, tomorrow, Thursday, between 5 to 7 p.m. to answer any individual questions that you may have. It's a part of Cal Week, and as this tour is one of those events of Cal Week, make sure to check out that one tomorrow as well. And of course, thank you. Thank you to all of y'all for joining us. That was, we've had a ton of visitors today. And hopefully our back-end ambassadors, thank you to them as well for answering all of y'all questions. And of course, thank you to Rohil and Reena for leading us in an amazing tour. I'm sure we all learned a lot. And of course, we're going to end our on virtual tours as the same way we end our on-campus tours, and that's with a Go Bears on three, Go Bears on me. 1, 2, 3, Go
Go
Bears!
Bears!
Alrighty, y'all. Have a great day, everyone.